Hello everyone, this is Lair, and today we're going to talk about everything that happened in Tesla news and in regards to full self-driving this week. Even though we didn't have a new FSD update, we did actually have quite a bit of autonomy news, if that makes sense. So starting off, we'll go to December 6th. Tesla enabled full self-driving giftability. You can now gift a 1 month subscription of full self driving to someone else. Or if you have a Tesla and you're making your wish list to share with your spouse or your family or whatever, you could give them the link and they could buy you a month of full self driving. So you could drive or have your car drive for a whole month for free. This is really cool. I think this is going to help a lot with the adoptability or adaptation. What word am I looking for? The adoption of full self driving. I think that giving people the opportunity to share 1 month with someone else is a big step in the right direction. And I hope that eventually this becomes a little more granular and you can gift a day or a week or whatever. I really think that you should be able to refer someone to full self driving and give them a free 48 hours or something like that. And then maybe they could subscribe at a discounted rate after that, and you would get your referral bonus or whatever for referring someone to full self driving. So I think that's really cool. That's just in time for Christmas, and that's great. Next, on December the 9th, Elon declared that unsupervised full self-driving was pretty much solved. Now, if you've been driving with full self-driving for a while, you're probably in agreement with that. You probably hear that statement and go, yeah, it is pretty much solved. Like, we've worked out most of the kinks. The edge cases are getting increasingly smaller and less significant and less reoccurrent. Like, they're just not happening all that often anymore. So when Elon says that it's pretty much solved, unsupervised FSD that is, he's saying completely hands off, completely removing the human element from driving is pretty much solved. Now, that is mostly a big deal because of the robotaxis that are in San Francisco and Austin right now. Those robotaxis currently have a safety, what are they calling them? Safety driver, safety observer, safety supervisor who is sitting either in the front seat in San Francisco because it's just a ride hailing service there, or in Austin, they're sitting in the passenger seat. And what these safety observers are doing is just kind of supervising and making sure that the car doesn't do anything that is safety critical or needs human intervention. So far, it seems like there have been several cases that needed human intervention, but in those very limited kind of not geo-fenced, I guess they are geo-fenced little areas, I think that Tesla is working out the kinks in those areas at a very, very fast rate. So Elon said that by the end of the year, they would remove the safety drivers entirely, at least in Austin, where it's legal for them to operate autonomous vehicles. In San Francisco, I think there's still some verbiage that they have to go over with the state before they're going to be able to remove the safety drivers. Next up, also on December 9th, FSD version 14.1, some stats were released that show that it is a 20 times improvement and the biggest improvement that Tesla has seen in a long time, pushing the whole industry closer to hands-off driving. Autonomous driving is kind of one of those like elusive things that's really, really, really hard to grab onto because there's so many moving parts and so many things that have to go perfectly well in order to get it right. And every step that Tesla has taken in that direction has opened up the possibility for the entire world, not just this one car manufacturer, but lots of others, like we'll talk about in a little bit. Also on December 9th, a busy day for full self-driving news. Piper Sandler, which is like an investment firm, had an analyst who said Tesla is very close to unsupervised full self driving. At the same time that Elon said full self driving unsupervised is pretty much solved, this financial analyst said they were very, very close to unsupervised FSD. Analyst Alexander Potter highlighted the version 14.1 gains as evidence that Tesla is on the cusp of fully autonomous operation, potentially enabling coast to coast drives without intervention. I think that's probably possible now. I don't know if anyone has done a full coast to coast drive yet. Someone should. But even in my car, I have 1,100 or 1,200 miles so far since 14.2, and it's 100% FSD. Now, I have taken over for getting into drive-throughs and parking, like in a very specific parking spot that I want and stuff like that. But I think if I had pulled back and just said, look, I want to make it from here to here without any interventions, I think I would have been able to do that. But I would have had to change some of my choices a little bit in order to do it. So, say if I was doing a coast to coast drive and I was going to go from California to New York or something like that, I do think it would require you to make some adjustments to what you would normally do, because you would come up to a McDonald's or whatever and you want to go through the drive-through, but there's no way to tell the car to go into the drive-through. So a lot of the videos you see online of people taking full self-driving through a drive-through, they're just going up to the parking lot or like where the car is about to park, and they're disengaging, going to the drive-through and re-engaging full self-driving. So that kind of defeats the purpose of a coast to coast fully autonomous trip. But if you just let the car do everything it's going to do and park, and you say, I am going to go into every restaurant, I'm going to go into every, whatever, any situation where you normally would take over, I think technically you could make the car drive you 100% coast to coast. So that would be really, really interesting to see, and I hope somebody does it very soon. On December 10th, this is when Elon said that they had plans to remove the safety monitors from Austin Robotaxis in like a few weeks. Elon Musk confirmed that Tesla will eliminate safety drivers from its Austin Robotaxi fleet in about 3 weeks or sometime in late December, shading competitors like Waymo for slower scaling. Elon has been bold lately in that he's constantly kind of throwing shade at Waymo for their approach, and it's this weird kind of tone because he's saying thanks Waymo for paving the way for autonomous driving and doing the legwork and getting the regulatory stuff handled, but he's also saying you lose, we're going to pass you up, and you don't stand a chance. He said something the other day that was like, it should be clear to anyone that Tesla is light years ahead of Waymo in this area, or whatever. Like, he is completely disregarding them at this stage and saying, look, we've got it. I think I agree with that. I mean, the vision only approach makes sense. My car pretty much drives me autonomously anywhere that I go, but unsupervised is a gap. There's a leap to get there, and a lot of edge cases that they'll have to figure out. Next up, also on December 10th, the Tesla holiday updates started rolling out to everyone. This is the holiday update that has things like the new light show, the supercharger 3D site maps, the Grok navigation, which I'm really, really, really excited to get on my car. However, this update has not yet pushed to any hardware for cars that are FSD capable. And what that leads people to believe is that the holiday update is going to be paired with a version of FSD version 14. Is that the current version, which is 14.2.1, or is it something new, like a 14.2.2 or 14.3 maybe? We don't really know yet. Actually, we do really know yet. On December 12th, FSD started rolling out to hardware for cars with FSD with a new version number, which is FSD version 14.2.1.25. This is a very minor point release, and so far it seems like it has some maybe not super significant changes, but I'm excited to try that when it comes my way. But we do know that it's been pushing out to Hardware 3 cars, including even a Hardware 1 car I saw earlier that got like a new Santa mode update, which is insane. It's like a 10-year-old car that Tesla updated. It's pushing out to Intel Atom cars and the AMD Ryzen cars. So really, really cool. Tesla is full speed ahead on that, pushing that out to everyone. I just can't wait to get it on my Hardware 4 FSD equipped car and see all of it in its glory. Next up, also on December 10th, busy week, a lot of stuff happening. Tesla started doing full self-driving ride-alongs in Europe, which is really, really cool. So now they're allowing people to come to Tesla service centers or showrooms or whatever they're called over there, and you can go on a test drive with a representative from Tesla. So somebody from the dealership or showroom or service center or whatever will come along with you on your test drive and show you full self-driving. And this is happening right now in Denmark and Switzerland, and it's kind of signaling that they're getting ready to roll this out more broadly across the EU, which is really, really, really neat. So I'm excited to see where that goes. I think it's going to blow people's mind. We saw when it rolled out in Australia that people were just kind of immediately impressed, blown away. The same thing seemed to happen in China when FSD was rolled out there, and then I think since then it's been scaled back or pulled back, or maybe it's back out now. I don't really know. But every time FSD launches in these international markets, it seems like it makes waves and gets a lot of news attention, and people are really, really excited to get their hands on this technology. So I hope that it goes wide in the EU as soon as possible. That'll be really cool. On December 12th, Cybertruck Powershare was kind of expanded upon, or they talked about it a little bit more. I know a lot of people who bought Cybertrucks originally were let down by this, but Powershare was supposed to be included as part of that complete Cybertruck package very early on, and for whatever reason they had some developmental problems getting that done. We have so many of these things. They look like little ladybugs, but they bite you. Horrible. Anyway, one just flew almost into my mouth while I was recording this, and I had to pause and start over. So anyway, Tesla informed Cybertruck owners of progress on bidirectional charging with Powerwall, with a full rollout expected soon to enable home backup power. Now, me, I don't own a Cybertruck, but I do really love the Cybertruck. I thought this was already a thing. I thought that the Cybertruck already had this ability, but apparently there's some kind of conflict between using your Cybertruck and using your Powerwall as the power source, and they had to figure out that conflict and how to route that and give priority to one versus the other and all of that. So that's good news. Probably a disappointment to a lot of Cybertruck owners who thought that they would have that ability sooner, but at least it's on the way. Next up, there was an Optimus demo. I'll see if I can put a clip up here. Optimus had kind of a mishap. So there was a big Tesla Autonomy Day thing, and they had some Optimus robots that were like serving water and doing just some little menial tasks. And there was a video that came out where very clearly the Optimus is standing there, and then like a safety supervisor removes the helmet, and then the Optimus just goes down. And it was really funny, and I think most people who saw it probably just thought like, well, that's goofy. But it got a lot of news attention, and the reason it got news attention is because I think people are still confused about Optimus and where it is. Um, what Tesla needs to do is tell people, look, every single event that we do is not meant to show you the cutting edge version of this technology. And that's a confusing thing. I think it probably would be better if they just only showed the cutting edge, like best version of Optimus. That's not what's happening. So I think the Optimus robot that was at this particular thing was like version 1, maybe. I could be wrong about that. But it was being controlled remotely by a remote operator who had a VR headset and was, moving the robot and showing it what to do, telling it what to do. I think people have this impression that Optimus either should be fully autonomous at every one of these events, or it's all a big hoax, right? And I don't think it's all a big hoax. I think Optimus is becoming autonomous, and I think they're training it on a lot of data sets and new tasks that it can handle and things like that. However, it's not a great look to have an event and not specify, hey, these are version 1, or these are older models, and they're being remote operated to show you what the future will look like, rather than, this is an autonomous robot that is supposed to impress you. This is the greatest technology that we have right now, latest and greatest. I just don't think the messaging from Tesla has been perfect on this, but I'm interested to know what you think down in the comments below. Next, this is a big one, and I, waffled about whether we were going to talk about it or not, but I think we should. Rivian had their AI day this week, and they basically announced that, hey, we have full self-driving too, and we're going to start rolling it out on Rivians in the next year. I don't know much about Rivian hardware. However, on the website and in their presentation, they shared that their system was going to have 8 or 9 cameras on it. It was going to have 5 versions of radar, and it was going to have some kind of LiDAR sensor mounted on the front that would be able to measure distance and, judge conditions and things like that. What was interesting about this is I saw some videos of this full self-driving system that Rivian has in action, and it was impressive. Like, you have to disconnect yourself from how much you love Tesla and how much full self-driving is the future and it's going to change the world. If you can disconnect yourself from that a little bit, then you gotta kind of admit Rivian did do a good job here. I mean, they have a system that is capable of full self-driving and needs refinement and needs a lot of refinement. I don't know how Rivian's going to get there. I saw one guy, this guy named Fred Lambert, who runs Electrac, which is very anti-Tesla. Like, they just dog Tesla about everything. And I saw him say that he thought Rivian would be completely caught up in their development of their full self-driving tech. They would catch up to Tesla by like Q2 of 2026. And I even commented on that and said, this is an absolutely insane take. I really think it's insane to think that Rivian is just going to catch up that quickly, because what we've seen so far is a very whittled down, curated route. So these videos came out where they're influencers that they invited to the Rivian AI Day were going on little city tours on Rivian's full self-driving software. And it was interesting, but it kind of reminded me of old full self-driving on Tesla, like the very, very early versions, kind of. I've only had a Tesla since version 12, so I wasn't even really in the loop on FSD prior to that, but it looked a little rougher around the edges to me than version 12 did. Things I noticed immediately when I watched those videos is the steering wheel shake, like it would come into a turn, and it looked like almost every turn the steering wheel would do this thing, which, it's not really a problem. Like, it's okay if it makes the turn, it's a little bit uncomfortable, then what's the big deal? However, as a passenger or a driver who's supervising a full self-driving system like that, it kind of feels, it reduces your confidence in the software a little bit every single time it happens. It happens in my car sometimes, even on version 14. Sometimes it'll go to park and it'll do the shaky steering wheel thing. And what I mean by reduces confidence is it makes you think like, okay, what are you thinking? What are you doing? Just park. It gives you that like indignance a little bit. I saw that a lot in the Rivian demo. There was also an example, guy named Jeebs posted a video, and there was an example where the car looked like it was going through a red light. It was like a left-hand turn with a red light, and the light next to it was green, and the car basically was just sailing through that turn. And that was really interesting. And then I watched another video with another influencer, and the car did the exact same thing. It tried to run that red light, and the safety driver had to take over and stop the car. Now, I'm not saying that that's the end of the world. My car, as recently as version 13, which is not that long ago, we're talking like a few months ago, ran a red light at the front of my neighborhood multiple times. Like during version 13, I had to really watch because for some reason it didn't really care about that red light and it would just gun it occasionally and try to run through it. So I'm not saying it's the end of the world. It's like an impossibility that Rivian's going to figure that part out. But, that's where they are right now. It's going to take some time. Also, there was a time when a pedestrian was kind of walking into the road, and to me, it looked like the safety driver intervened in kind of a like, we're going to hit that person sort of way. Even going as far back as I've had Tesla full self-driving experience, version 12, I don't remember ever thinking my car was maybe going to plow through any pedestrians. I'm not saying the Rivian was going to just mow that person down, but the safety driver took over, didn't let it stop, or didn't have the confidence that it was going to stop, or something, and that kind of stood out to me because Tesla's always taken a very like safety first approach to pedestrians and things happening on the sides of the road and stuff. But overall, the Rivian AI Day thing was pretty cool. I think they definitely are the only other consumer product that is going straight to market and has the capability to do full self-driving. There's no other product out there that really can do that same thing. Even though Rivian's got a lot of edge cases to work out and a lot of problems to overcome, and they haven't really figured out the start or end of drives yet. Maybe it'll be years. Maybe they're going to lag behind Tesla 5 years or more. Maybe. But it's very likely when one company figures out this technology, everybody else has the opportunity to pick it apart and learn how the process went and how they developed the software and how they trained the inference models. And all I'm saying is Rivian could benefit a lot from the groundwork that Tesla has already laid, and this may give them a really great opportunity to step into autonomy and be the second biggest name in autonomous vehicles. I mean, it would not shock me if, think about it this way. Rivian, with their very limited number of cars on the road, let me look it up. Let me see how many Rivian Gen 2s are out there right now. So Rivian Gen 2, I think, is the car that has this equipment, the cameras and everything. It doesn't have the LiDAR in it yet, but I think they're working on the full self-driving solution for any Gen 2 Rivians. I don't know, don't quote me on this, but according to the numbers I see here, There are about 40,000 of these Gen 2 Rivians that are out on the roads right now. 40,000 compared to Waymo, which has like 2,500 Waymos. So if Rivian can benefit from Tesla's approach and take all of the things that Tesla has learned and apply those in a real way to their consumer focused vehicles, I mean, they could be the second biggest name. They could totally eclipse Waymo. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but there is a path forward to getting there. And I think that's kind of interesting. All in all, I think it's great for any company that wants to enter this autonomous vehicle thing. Tesla and maybe Waymo too have proven that there is a safety factor beyond humans that only autonomous vehicles can achieve. Humans cannot get there. Even with some kind of augmentation that allowed us to make decisions faster and brake faster and lane change faster, I just don't think we have the capability to do what these cars can do. So, the future is bright, I think, for any company that really puts effort into it. In Rivian's case, I don't really know if this is them cementing themselves as a household name in autonomy, or if this is them trying to make sure that their stock is inflated going into 2026. I don't really know. So far, the stock has gone up. I think Rivian stock today went up like 15 to 20%, which was a big jump. But it's hard for me to tell. Rivian's an interesting company that is it's poised very differently from Tesla. Rivian is basically losing money on every car they sell. Their share price is somewhere in the $16 to $18 range right now. It's a different company, a different beast. Rivian sold 40,000 cars this year, roughly. That's significantly fewer than Tesla, obviously. So it's going to be interesting to see. Does Rivian's investment into autonomy legitimize them to a huge swath of retail investors and institutional investors that are looking really closely at Tesla right now? Are there Tesla investors that are going to start thinking, hey, Rivian has a shot here. I'm going to start moving some of my money over to Rivian and getting behind them because maybe they have similar upside to Tesla at some point? I don't know. I don't think so, but the future is bright all around as far as autonomous driving is concerned. There were probably some things I missed in this video that happened in the last week or so in Tesla news, but if you think of anything or anything that stood out to you, please share it in the comments below, and I'll be sure to get back to you. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you had a great day, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.